Hi there, it's Leslie Denny here on not only our group fitness page for Leslie Denny Fitness, but also on our YouTube channel, Leslie Denny Fitness. And I'm glad that you're joining us today for a very special little short segment. And the question came up from my brother about strengthening the feet. And we don't get that question very often at all. And so it's such a great question that I thought I'd throw together this really quick segment on how to strengthen your feet. One of the first things that is always really helpful before you do any type of strength training is to do a little connective tissue release. So I'm going to grab one of my big alpha balls really quick, and I'll show you really quick how to do that. So hold on just a sec. I'm using one of the large alpha balls from Yoga Tune-Up, and not super expensive, well worth it because they're made out of a specialized rubber that helps connect with the feet. Today, I'm actually just using in my socks. I'm in my socky feet. And I'm just going to take that ball underneath my foot and give it a nice roll from front to back. What this does is it increases the circulation into that fascia that's at the footbed. You have a really big sheath of fascia that connects from the calcaneus, the front of your heel bone, and goes right into the footbed. This is an area that can be a really struggle point for a lot of folks. So this process helps hugely. So just give it a nice, easy roll. And then we'll switch it off to the other side. Simple as that. We're not going to do a lot of detail work on this. If you want to see detail work for the feet, be sure to consult some of the other ball rolling videos that you can see on our group page or on the YouTube page, because they're out there. And then release from there. And I'm just going to put that to the side. So the first thing that we're going to do, and I'm going to sit to the side here, is I'm going to just do flexibility for the ankles. So you're going to extend out through, I'm using the right leg first, and we'll do an entire session together. And I'm going to point and flex, and just point and flex my foot, just like that. You want to do this a series of about 10 to 20 times in that direction. So it's a little repetitive. So you might want to turn on the TV or play some music or distract yourself with whatever you need to distract yourself while you're doing this, so the time will pass easy so that you're not thinking about finishing, but you're really immersed in the movement itself. Then once we move through that, about 10 or 20 times, and again, this is going to be a complete session together so that you can revisit this later on. You're going to start circling that foot around. We really take for granted ankle mobility and ankle strength. So it's not just the feet that need to be strong, it needs to be the ankle too, and actually your whole body. The more muscle we can put on our bodies means that we have just a lot more strength to endure the effects of gravity as we get older. It's good for bone density. Strength goes a long way, and it also helps develop a really good body composition where we want to be more muscle than fat. And then circle the foot in the other direction. So I circled it in one direction probably about 15, 20 times, and I'm just going in the opposite direction. You might want to notice if you get kind of fatigued here. If you're starting to feel a little bit of leg or ankle fatigue, you need to do this. So just keep circling. And you'll start to feel a lot of that into the calf muscle too, which is a really important component as well, because everything's connected. And so everything works together. Good. And then release from there. There's a lot right there. So let's switch it off to the other side. Remember, it's point and flex. Another thing to remember is that with any fitness program, and you might be saying, God, I don't feel like I'm really working out hard here, Leslie, but you are. And with any fitness program, you just want to make sure that what you're doing is in line with you and your healthcare practitioner. So remember, I frequently say in all of my classes that I'm not a doctor. I can't give you advice or tell you what's the best thing to do. So if you're uncomfortable at any level, then just dial back, maybe meet with your healthcare practitioner to show them what we're doing here and make sure that everything fits all of the slots that you need for you. And then once you've done that about 10 to 20 times right there, start circling the foot around in one direction. And this is when we really start to get into that ankle joint. And just keep circling. The nice thing about working the feet is you feel better overall. And the stronger your feet are, the more stability you have. And especially for those of us that are getting older, falling is a real issue. And being able to catch yourself and have strong feet and good balance is a super important factor in aging. And it's never too late to start. I know with some of my senior classes, I'll get that first question of like, it's probably too late for me to start this, right? And it's like, it's never too late. And then circle it in the opposite direction. So again, that was about 15, 20 times that I circled it in one direction, and I'm circling it in the other. And really think about confining that movement through the ankle. And just keep going there a few more times. I don't know if my magic cat Merlin's going to join us today. He just had to have a podicure, and he's not very happy about it, so he may not be coming in to visit today. He usually does. If you watch our classes, you'll see he'll pop up every once in a while. And then release from there. Probably feel a little bit going on right there. So down here on the floor, oh, lo and behold, and here the man comes. There are 3 different stretchy straps. I like these a lot with the next thing that we're going to be doing because they're very versatile. The yellow is the stretchiest of all of them, and you can order these Amazon any place, and they're all connected in a circle. Then I have a red one, which is a little bit stronger on the stretch, and then I have a blue one. The blue one is the toughest one of all. So if you can actually sometimes buy a set of these straps, and as you're getting stronger, increase your usage of resistance on them. But I always tell people that when you're getting started with doing anything you've never done before, don't go to the hardest thing thinking you're going to prove something. Go with the lightest weight, the lightest resistance, so that you can master the art of the movement first and then build strength on that. So I'm going to go to the yellow one right here, and I'm going to take it at the end of my foot, and I'm placing it right at the ball of my foot. Then I'm going to stretch it out, and I'm going to point and draw it in. So this is kind of like that point and flex movement that we did first off, but the difference is I'm pointing through the ball of my foot, and I'm really starting to work the muscles that go into that calf area. So this is a little bit of a challenge. And as you go along, you could go lighter here. You could stretch your arms out and go pretty darn light, or start drawing it in more. And the more you draw it in, the more you're going to feel your body, your feet there working. And then if this starts to feel like, hey, look, give me a bigger can of worms to break open here, girl, then you can just switch off to the higher level of stretchy straps that you'd like. Another alternative is if you don't have these stretchy straps, which I really highly recommend because they're resilient in the muscular movement, then you could grab a strap and just push your foot against that. But sometimes when the strap, which is such a solid object, goes to the middle of the foot, it puts a lot of pressure on the instep of the foot, and it can grow uncomfortable over time, which is another reason that I encourage people to, if you have it, make the small investment to get these, because if you stick with me, there's going to be a million other ways to use these guys. They're just terrific. And then release from there and switch it off to the other side. And at any length, make sure you're just cupping the ball of your foot into that strap if you're using this, and then point and flex right through the ball of your foot. If you point the toe, the foot kind of slips out. So you want to kind of keep the toes up and press through the ball of your foot. And you'll feel this in your calf. There's no doubt about it. You're going to strengthen up those calf muscles too. And a little bit goes a long way. So again, when you're starting, build from the start small and then gradually build up more and more. Now, I'm purposely doing something right now so that I could bring your attention to it. Notice how I have my elbows bent. This is annoying. And the reason it's annoying is it's making me work my shoulders and my biceps more. And I want to focus my energy towards that foot really doing the work. So all you got to do is stretch your arms out, and then all of a sudden you take all that load off of the shoulders and the arms. It just feels a lot better. And just keep pointing and flexing. So now we've got 2 different series of movements that we've done. The ankle rolls, and now we're doing the pointing and flexing. And then we also did the pointing and flexing actually in the very beginning to warm up through those ankles and feet. In addition to that, we did a little bit of a ball roll. So we got us a workout going here. And then release from there. So the next thing that you can do, the last component actually, is you could use these and you'd want to anchor them under a piece of furniture that's really heavy that will stay in place. And you'll see why in just a moment. I don't have access to that. I wasn't sorry, but I just didn't feel like moving the sofa into the studio here. So what I did was I got myself a strap and I weighted it under 2 12-pound weights. So it's going to hold that strap in place while I do this movement. And then I'll show you the alternative kind of in space and time of how it would work if you had that heavy piece of furniture. You're going to hook your toe. I'm going to slide my foot forward here a little bit. And my toe is hooked behind the strap. I'm sure you can see that right there. And I'm going to slide my seat back, and now I am pulling the toes toward me. And as I pull those toes toward me, I'm going to start to feel a big stretch through the back of the leg. So this is exercising the top muscles of the foot, and then it's also working the calf muscles too, and providing quite a stretch throughout those calf muscles. Now, if you were using a piece of furniture, we're going to keep holding here, and when you're watching this the first time, just get familiar with what we're doing so that you can have all the right equipment in place once you get started, and then you can do it with consistency. And we'll talk about how much consistency in just a second. But if you were working with that big heavy piece of furniture, you can see how you could hook one of these stretchy bands around the leg of a bottom piece of like your sofa or your dining room table, and then just pull your chair up to it, hook your foot into the strap, the stretchy band, and pull the toes towards you so that you access the stretch in the back of the calf. And then once you're done there, you'll just swap it off to the other side. I'm going to hook my toe in there, and I'm just going to pull those toes towards me, lift that leg, and I'm feeling all of that stretch through the calf. The tops of my feet are really working here to try to pull those weights in. And fortunately, with 24 pounds anchored to the floor, they're not going anywhere. But not everybody has 24-pound weights sitting around their house. If you got a really fat cat, sit them on top of the strap. But if you don't even have that, then use a heavy piece of furniture. It works great. And just keep pulling that leg in. We've got quite a few seconds here. So time-wise with this component, you hold on to it for probably about a minute, maybe more if you can, but remember, start small. If you can only hold on to that movement for about 15 seconds, then you're good to go. Remember, it's the little things we do with the intention that is right that allows it to stick, and then we can build upon that. That's what's really important. So just hang on there if you can with me for a few more seconds. Yeah, and every time that you feel like you can pull those toes a little bit more in towards you, you can do that. And then once you release from there, we're going to go back to that ball roll to finish up what we did here today. So I'm just going to roll the ball with the bottom of my foot. And what that does is after all of that work that we've done for our feet, It helps increase that blood circulation, fluff up that myofascial tissue that's in the base of your foot, and then switch it to the other side. And then when you get up and walk, you're going to feel like you're walking on not just clouds, but strong clouds. That's what we want. Just give it a little bit more of a roll. And then you are done. So when you think about finishing up and you're thinking about how do I approach this, remember, a little bit goes a long way. So if you can just do a little bit of it when you get started, maybe just a little bit of the rolling, a little bit of each one of the components of the exercises that we did for just a short time to get familiar with it, do that. As far as once you build into the practice as a whole, try to build into this whole set completely over time. Once you can do this whole segment that we just did, then think about doing it maybe just once or twice a week to start. And then before you know it, you'll probably be doing it about 2 to 3 times a week, maybe even 4 or 5, just depending on how you feel. Remember, a little bit of stretching, a little bit of a strength to start, and then consistency is really what's important. Be sure to drink your water, eat well, get a good night's rest, and before you know it, you're going to be feeling like $1,000,000. Thank you so much for joining me today, and have a really super day.